Okay? So, this church took it upon themselves to start praying for individual families in the area. And so they prayed for this family. It's called the Caminetti family. And they prayed. And these people, this family, they went to church every Sunday. They went, to the Catholic Church every Sunday. And whatever they were doing there, they weren't preaching the Gospels because they said, we weren't saved. We knew, we weren't saved. And within just a couple of months, the whole family got saved and became a part of this church that was praying for them. Now, I don't know what the interaction was. I've never seen that explanation. It doesn't make no difference. The point is they got there. 2 of the boys in that family are now worldwide ministers. One's on television. The other one has started Bible schools in different places in the earth, affecting the world because one little church decided we're going to do something. Amen. Now, I'm sure they did more than just pray for them. How do you know that? That's the way it works. We can change this community.
Right.
So, if we are not interacting with unbelievers on a regular basis, we're shirking our duty. Take what you learn in here out there. There is a priest, a monk actually, that was studying the Bible. You know how they do. They cloister themselves. They don't get out and open very often. But this guy had some really wonderful insights about the Lord. And he'd write it down in little pieces of paper and he'd stick it in between the stones. That, how they make those old monasteries made all these great big stones. And he'd stick it in. He'd stick these insights that he had in between these cracks. And then centuries later, they went in to renovate that old monastery, and they found all these little notes all over the place. And they got to somebody who had some spiritual insight, and he said, "Oh my God, what great revelation that this man had!" But it never left those walls. That generation never knew what that man had from the Lord. Hundreds of years went by before anybody knew what Jesus had revealed to him. Now, I'm sure Jesus didn't tell him to just stick it in the wall there and don't tell nobody. Because he doesn't do that. Amen?
Amen.
So 1 Timothy. See, you can do things by method and all of that, and it does have effect. I'm not saying it doesn't, but that's not the kind of minister that I am. I don't go by method. I go by the Holy Ghost. Nothing, like I said again, nothing wrong with methods in particular, but I don't operate that way. I operate by the Spirit of God. Who do you want me to talk to? I told God one time, don't waste my time on people that won't listen. He can get mad. I heard him giggle. You hear things? Yeah. You ought to. 1 Timothy 4:14 says, "Do not neglect the gift that is in you, which was given you by prophecy with the laying on of hands of the eldership." If you read in Old King James, it says by the presbytery. The eldership. Who are those? Those are the spiritual people in the church. Well, the unspiritual can't do that. Amen. Okay. Says, meditate on these things. Give yourself entirely to them, that your progress may be evident to all. Take heed to yourself and to the doctrine. Continue in them, for in doing this you will save both yourself and those who hear you. So the purpose of our progress ought to be to be able to more clearly show Jesus to others. But you notice that the apostle said to the young man that he was mentoring, it doesn't work very good if you're not studying. See, God, supernaturally, these people gathered around this young man. They laid hands on him. They prayed over him. God imparted some gift to him. We don't know what the gift was. Don't say it was the gift of the pastor, because that can't be imparted. You either have it or you don't. You're born that way. Amen. Or what, any of the fivefold. You're born that way. God puts that in you when you're put together in the womb. When He creates your spirit. Because it's not natural. The gifts and callings of God are not natural. There's people that try to say that, well, you know, because you like to help people. That's not. No. That's just personality. Come on now. So these folks, they laid hands on him, and Paul said it ought to be showing, and he said that if you take heed, what's that mean? Pay attention to it a lot. Study a lot. Pray a lot. Show what you have, and God will show up more. Which, obviously, if we don't do that much, He shows up less. So the Bible tells us that we should have a ready answer to our faith. You can't have an answer if you don't study. You can have all, you know, it's like a friend of mine. He was raised in this Pentecostal church in the South, and they had a lot of Holy Ghost stuff going on. Woo-hoo-hoo. Jump around and shout and dance and run around the church and all that stuff. That's all fine and good. He said, but, you know, if we got a morsel of bread in the sermon every Sunday, that was too much. He said we'd jump and shout and have a good old time, but we couldn't share Jesus. We didn't hardly know who He was. Then on the other hand, don't get off on the ditch on the other side. You want to stay in the middle of the road, right? See, so the ditch on one side, we're going to jump and shout and praise God, woohoo, and run around the church, yippee, 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 and do all that stuff and come out there and don't know a blessed thing. That's the ditch on one side, right? The ditch on the other side is like the guy that stuck the stuff in the wall. We're going to study, we're going to learn, we're going to study, and come on, Pastor, give us something deep, give us something deep. You won't do the simple thing I told you last week. Why should I give you anything heavier than that? Right. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just telling you the truth. Smile. Don't look at me in that tone of voice. Isn't that what them folks is telling Jesus? Come on now. We've been running and dancing and shouting and having a good time. Let us have something, you know, a little, give us some meat to this deal. And He says, okay, here's some meat. And they choked on it. And left. It's a disturbing trend in the church that there's pastors that are pushing away a move of the Spirit because they say, well, people won't come. Well, let them stay home then, or let them go to the Baptist church or something. I don't care, but if you don't want God to do something, then what in the world are you preaching for? Go join one of them. Quit calling yourself a Pentecostal if you aren't one. Sorry, I'm stirred up. We want God to move, but we don't want Him to have. We don't want to have anything to do with it. He can if you don't. He can't if you don't. You know, when I talk to people, and I've had people, you know, we've had some visitors here from time to time, but when I talk to people all the time about the Lord. When I'm out delivering hay and stuff like that, I'm always talking about the Lord in some way, slipping something in here and there, because you can tell, you know, if you practice it for a while, you can tell when people are starting to choke. You know, you give them a little bit of heavenly food, and they start to choke on it, so you back off a little bit because you don't want to gag them. Isn't that right? You got to give them enough to go on. You know, so some people, all they can handle is milk. Some people can't even handle that. Have you ever heard of Blue John? Blue John, that's what comes out, you know, right after a woman has a baby. That stuff that's not really milk. That's blue. That's all, and that's good for the baby. That's what comes out first, and it kind of cleans their system out, and then the milk starts coming. See, sometimes we just got to give them that Blue John, because that's all they're going to choke on milk. Don't try to give them bread or meat. They're just going to. You know, you take a newborn baby and try to, even if you take bread and just kind of crumble up and everything, right? So, but give them something, but you got to practice it. People tell me that what's that? Okay. That must be a colloquial name. No? Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so I love Phoebe. She'll get it right. But when I talk to people when I'm out delivering hay and all that, people that don't know the Lord, or even people that are fairly new in the Lord and they don't know a whole lot, they like talking to me because I make things clear to them. If I don't have the ready answer, if I don't have the mind of Christ, I can't do that. Because if you just throw a bunch of Bible at somebody and they don't know nothing about it, all they're going to do is gag. Amen. So you can do this too. How do I know that? You have the same Bible, the same Holy Ghost, the same Jesus. So don't tell me you can't. You can. Well, I'm not very good at it. I wasn't very good at it at first either. I'd throw things out there and just scare the fire out of people. Didn't get them saved either. They just didn't want to be around me after that. Take what you have outside, right? So I was taking what I had outside. You know, I figured out pretty quickly that strangers don't like to talk to you. Whether you want to talk about God or not, they just don't want to talk to you, right? But I figured out, you know, people that I work with, they ain't got no place to go. You know, they're trapped. So I talked to them, you know, work it out on them. And one day I'm talking to this guy one day, and he could see that God had changed me. And he wanted to know what that was. Now, this guy was kind of a yahoo, you know what I mean? I better explain. That can mean a lot of things. I mean, he liked to have fun and party and all of that. Okay? But he went to a church occasionally. Won't say which one, don't make no difference. And so he says, what? How come you're so different than you used to be? Excuse me, I used to know how to raise hell. And I don't mean knock it down, I mean pull it up. And, you know, how you changed some, and, you know, the way I acted with people was different and all of that. And what happened? I said, well, I got saved and filled with the Holy Ghost. He said, what's that? He said, I said, I'll show you. He goes, wait a minute. You talking about that speaking in tongues stuff? I said, yeah. I said, here we go. And I let it fly. And we was in a cereal aisle in the grocery store. He knocked boxes all over the place. Whoa. He didn't talk to me no more either. But that's not good. That's not what you want. I scared him. You know? Whoa! Send me to another store. Because he was gone too long that afternoon. I don't know what happened to him. So take what you learn outside, but learn the right stuff and then take it outside, all right? We're learning the right stuff here, aren't we? Yeah. So Colossians, we'll finish with this. Colossians chapter 1. You like the headings to the divisions? The unspiritual man cannot accept the matters which the Spirit deals with. So we have to make it clear. Holy Ghost can't even talk to people that don't know Him. They won't know what He's talking about. What? Verse 9 says, "For this reason we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you and to ask that you may be filled with the knowledge of His will." Woo-wee. If you could just get that one down alone, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Just be filled with the knowledge of His will. I know what to do now. Because without the knowledge of His will, you don't know what to do. Without the knowledge of His will, we're not very spiritual. I said we, not me. Or you in particular, like pointing my finger at you. I said we. We aren't. Without the knowledge of His will, okay? "In all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that you may walk worthy of the Lord." Now that has nothing to do with salvation. That has to do with being able to share Jesus with people. You know, if we can't share Jesus, we're not walking worthy. That has nothing to do with condemnation. That has nothing to do with whether you're going to make it into heaven or not. That just means you don't know what you're doing. If you ever had a brand new job, you get on there, get to a brand new job, you have no idea what you're doing, right? Everybody has to tolerate you and put up with you and all that, and then you finally start learning some things and and then you become worthy. Before that, you're unworthy. Okay? That's what it's talking about. "That you may be worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing Him, being fruitful in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God, strengthening with all might according to His glorious power, for all patience and long-suffering with joy." Yippee, this is fun. Once you practice a little bit, get the mind of Christ working for you and all of that, then sharing Jesus is not a drag, it's fun. Ooh, that's a word I haven't used in a long time. A drag, it's a drag, man. Yeehaw, with joy. "Giving thanks to the Father who has qualified us." See? Say, "I'm qualified." Who qualified you? The Father. Right? The Father qualified. He qualified you. You didn't qualify yourself. You can't. Okay? "Qualified us to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in the light. He has delivered us from the power of darkness and conveyed us," that means transferred us over, "conveyed us into the kingdom of the Son of His love, in whom we have redemption through His blood, the forgiveness of sins." So, you need to pray this over yourself. Pray it over yourself. Get up in the morning. If you don't know what to do, pray this. "God, I pray that I may be filled with the knowledge of your will, in all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that I may walk worthy of you, Lord, fully pleasing you, being fruitful in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God. Lord, that I might be strengthened with might according to your glorious power, for all patience and long suffering with joy." I like that. "I'm giving thanks to you, Father. You have qualified me to be a partaker of the inheritance of the saints in the light. And you have delivered me from the power of darkness and conveyed me into the kingdom of the Son of your love. And you have given me redemption through His blood, the forgiveness of sins." Woo-hoo, I'm ready. Amen. Pray that over you, and then you go out there. You're ready to go. You're ready to do the work of the Lord. Pray. Let's look at the last couple of verses here we have. Verse 21 says, "And you." Say, "That's me." Oh, come on now. Say, "That's me."
That's me.
There you go. "And you who were once alienated and enemies in your mind." Did you all look at the cover of the bulletin today? Look at the cover of the bulletin if you got it. See that? Blinded in their mind. I know you can't read it, but that veil that scarf that's in front of that girl's eyes, it says lies in front of it. So people that don't know the Lord, all they can see is lies. We're here to bring them truth. Amen? So we have to be filled with knowledge and understanding, wisdom, all those things that God will willingly give to us if we will just pray. Lord, fill me. And you who were once alienated and enemies in your mind by the wicked works, yet now he has reconciled in the body of his flesh through death to present you holy and blameless and above reproach in his sight. Wow. The only difference between the unspiritual man and the spiritual man is the understanding of what God has done for us. The unspiritual man does not understand why Jesus went on the cross. I see it all the time. Like on Facebook, people writing blogs and stuff like that, and they'll say, "What's that thing about Jesus on the cross? I don't get it." I saw somebody said the other day, that's human sacrifice. Isn't God against human sacrifice? Not that one. Amen. But see, why would they ask those questions? Let me tell you, number one, if they're not curious at all, they won't ask. Now, and remember what I said to Brother Tim? I said, if you can't take the insults, you can't minister. Because people that don't know the Lord have no obligation to be nice to you. Isn't that right? Well, they ought to be just out of good manners. You're presenting something to them that stinks. Remember what I said when we were getting warmed up there about that we are an odor to them, and it does not smell good. It smells like death. They don't want to hear about this. So they're going to say something to you to try to make you go away. And sometimes that's what they'll say. Go away. I don't want to hear you. Leave me alone. I don't believe in that stuff. And then we get offended. You know what that's equivalent to? That's equivalent to watching a blind man walk into a wall and get mad at him. What's the matter with that guy? Walked right into the wall, and then he backs up and does it again. Boom. Why don't you go over there and turn him? Well, he just keeps walking into that wall. I don't know what in the world's the matter with him. Just keep over there. Bam. And who's got the bad manners there? That's right. It's not a matter of intelligence that gets people to Jesus. First church we were going to, there was a boy that used to come in there, and he had Down syndrome. Couldn't hardly put a sentence together. But he loved Jesus. He'd go